With international tensions at an all-time high, a massive explosion has just shattered the tranquility of the Russian Naval Aviation airbase in western Russia, a whopping 500 miles away from Ukraine. As the smoke clears and the extent of the damage becomes clear, the world holds its breath. 2 helicopters were destroyed entirely, and 2 more were seriously damaged. Moreover, Russia has lost over 25% of its operational Ka-52 helicopter fleet, leaving the nation vulnerable in its ongoing conflict with Ukraine. However, this was not a battle casualty as much as a direct, blunt attack into the heart of Russia that heavily maimed the Russian Air Force. As a piece of footage circulating social media seems to confirm, the devastating event was an act of sabotage. Shockwaves. Towards the end of October 2022, a massive explosion engulfed the Russian Naval Aviation airbase in western Russia, the Ostrov airfield in Pskov, 15 miles from the Estonian border and 500 miles from Ukraine. The detonation blew up at least 4 Ka-52 Alligator attack helicopters. The following day, it was suggested it was no accident. A user on social media released a short piece of footage purportedly depicting the exact moment a man sabotaged the Russian facility. In the short video, the individual appears crouching along one of the Russian rotorcraft, setting up what seems to be a bomb with an MD5M detonator combined with a VZD-6CH mechanical fuse. Notably, the fuse used in the bomb had a delay of up to 6 hours, allowing the saboteurs ample time to escape, while the audacious attack was sure to send shockwaves through the Russian military establishment. According to Ukraine's military intelligence agency, 2 Ka-52s were destroyed and 2 more were seriously damaged. Although there is no way to independently verify the agency's claim, social media users in Russia have mentioned incidents involving helicopters in the area. The attack is a decisive blow to the Russian Air Force, which has already lost a quarter of its Ka-52s in the war with Ukraine, and being Russia's finest attack helicopter, its short supply is cause for concern. Remarkably, the manufacturer took 14 years to supply the roughly 100 Ka-52s the Russian Air Force took to war. What's more, with the production of military aircraft in Russia decreasing, it's unclear when the losses might be made up. The Alligator. The Ka-52 is an all-weather attack helicopter developed by the Kamov Design Bureau, part of Russian Helicopters. As the twin-seat variant of the Ka-50 attack helicopter, the aircraft proves highly maneuverable and capable of destroying enemy armored ground targets, tanks, low-speed aerial targets, and personnel at the front line and in technical depth. It also serves as a surveillance platform and aerial command post for a group of attack helicopters. Unlike its predecessor, it features a wide nose and an extended fuselage with a length of 16 meters, a height of 4.9 meters, and a main rotor diameter of 14.5 meters. In terms of maximum takeoff weight, it reaches 10,800 kilograms. Still, about 85% of the airframe, components, and systems are shared between the 2 variants. The modern glass cockpit of the Ka-52 accommodates 2 crew members seated in a side-by-side arrangement. The cockpit is equipped with a heads-up display, or HUD, 4 SMD66 multifunction displays, a helmet-mounted sight display, image intensifiers, and a GPS receiver. Additionally, the helicopter integrates a Phasitron cabin desk radio locator and Navigation and Attack System for Helicopters, or NASH. Both crew members are seated on K-37-800M ejection seats fitted with a catapult crew rescue system. In December 1996, the first Ka-52 helicopter was rolled out, and its maiden flight took place half a year later. Serial production began in 2008, and by the turn of the decade, the Russian Air Force received 3 Ka-52 helicopters for special missions. Pawns. The Ka-52 is known for its high combat survivability and powerful weaponry. On the starboard side of the fuselage, there's a movable gun mount, the NPPU-80, fitted with a 2A-42 30mm automatic gun. The helicopter also features 6 wing-mounted external hardpoints that can carry different combinations of weapons, such as Vickers anti-tank guided missiles, Attacker missiles with a laser guidance system, and B-8 V-20 rocket launchers for 80mm unguided S-8 rockets. The Vickers anti-tank missile has a range of 8 to 10 kilometers, and the helicopter can also be armed with IGLAV anti-aircraft guided missiles. Additionally, the Ka-52 is equipped with the latest guided air-to-surface missile, Isdelia 305E, which can hit a target up to 14.5 kilometers away and reach speeds of up to 230 meters per second. In April 2011, the Ka-52 began its service, and the Air Force signed a contract with the company for 140 Ka-52s, replacing the previous Ka-50 Black Shark fleet. 7 years later, the Russian Defense Ministry expressed interest in procuring 114 upgraded versions of the Ka-52 as part of the state armament program for 2018 to 2027. As of 2023, a quarter of those have already been lost to the Ukrainians. Sitting ducks. The Russian Air Force is reeling from a series of blows in their ongoing war with Ukraine. Flying Kamov Ka-52 attack helicopters, the Air Force has been facing tough opposition from Ukrainian air defenses, which have already shot down a quarter of the service's 100-strong Ka-52 fleet. The reason is straightforward. Their Kamov Ka-52 gunships are highly visible and vulnerable to Ukrainian missileers when they climb and hover to use their precision-guided missiles. The Russian Air Force started the conflict with around 100 of these two-crew helicopters, but they've already lost at least 23 of them, including the most recent confirmed loss captured on tape. Making matters worse for the Russians, Ka-52s are the only Russian attack helicopters compatible with the Air Force's best anti-tank guided missile, the Vickers. Plus, it's the only reliable precision weapon in their inventory. Therefore, Russian commanders have deployed them into combat to fire Vickers at Ukrainian tanks and fighting vehicles. However, firing the Vickers is a risky business for Ka-52 crews, as the missile is a beam rider. The firing helicopter must hover for several seconds to shoot a laser beam at the target from as far as 6 miles away and then fire the missile, which follows the laser all the way to the target. Until the missile hits the target, the helicopter can't move, leaving them vulnerable to Ukrainian air defenses. Dragonflies. Ukrainian missileers are using extreme tactics to survive. They fly their helicopters as low as 10 or 15 feet over the ground, angling up briefly to launch unguided rockets in long ballistic arcs toward their targets. Like the Ukrainian Defense Ministry put it, quote, "A 5-meter altitude flight makes it impossible for the enemy's anti-aircraft defense to shoot down our Dragonflies." Admittedly, the tactic isn't always accurate, but it helps the helicopter crews survive. Ukraine has lost only 12 helicopters since Russia's war in the country began in February 2022. In contrast, Russia has lost 52 of its higher-flying helicopters. In the expert's opinion, quote, "As long as the Russian Air Force in Ukraine favors precision application of the Vickers missile over the survival of the Ka-52s firing the missile, the gunship crews face extreme risk and a shockingly short life expectancy." On the other hand, now that Russian territory has been infiltrated, severe security problems have arisen. While it's unclear how the saboteurs sneaked into Russia, they traveled some distance. Or worse, they were already on the inside. Either way, the attack highlights the vulnerability of Russian military installations, even those located relatively far from active war zones. It's a wake-up call for the Russian military, which must take additional security measures to prevent further attacks. Welcome to the world of dark footage. If you enjoy modern military history, don't miss out on everything from chilling documentaries to eye-opening footage. Our Dark Documentaries channels have it all. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, and you'll be the first to know when we release our latest content. Stay tuned.